Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So do you want to fill this in or
I almost think I'm going to move the bell down.
okay? After you do that, lava this man, I guess, once you're ready.
Yeah. So right below the right spot. That is the right spot. Yeah, so here, I just put the bell down here. Is that fine? I still ring it? Oh, I can't ring it anymore. That's sad.
I heard it.
Oh, you can ring it. Okay. So now it's at 52, which is good. So they can't spawn on the ceiling then. Same other coordinates, just down at 52. So hopefully we eliminate the problem there. And you think they didn't spawn over here because it looks like they're in a 16 by 16 by 16 from what we read. And you don't think they're spawning over here because there's water for the most part.
That's my best guess, but you know, we've never seen one spawn like right here either. And I don't know why that is.
True.
That right there seems to be his favorite spot, right down there.
Well, hopefully we lava him into his not favorite spot. Sorry, little fella. So I had an interesting conversation with my mother-in-law this weekend that I was a little perplexed about.
Do y'all typically get along?
Yes and no. So yes, we get along just fine. Her dad's fantastic. Her dad and I get along like great. It's funny because her dad, grew up, with marrying his wife, and then they had 3 daughters. So he's been kind of like this sole male character the whole time. So I think he's like excited to have like another dude to talk to about stuff. But Julia's mom is habitually late for everything, just like Julia is, and time frames mean like nothing to them. Like, so he likes to vent about it to me because he knows that I deal with the same thing. So we'll go out and have like conversations and about that stuff and drink beer together and stuff. So dad's great. Her mom's also fantastic. She's great, with the kids and all that stuff. But she's very, very, very. Her way is the way, and no matter what, she tries to like spin things into her way. And we always have like these little quibs about things. She'll be like, "Oh, like you're reading him a book. Well, right now is normally when."
Yeah, I remember you telling me about some of this when they were staying with you.
I would do this. It's just like, come on, like I'm his dad. I'm here very little. Like, I don't care what you normally do right now. It's not like I'm like, let's just sit down on the couch and watch TV, Jack. I'm doing something engaging with him. And, so we have that kind of, quib all the time. And Julia gets just as frustrated with her mom, Like I said, though, I can't complain. Her mom is fantastic in so many ways. But there's, it doesn't mean everything's perfect, But so Julia's cousin moved to DC from Delaware? I'm trying to remember where she moved from. Either way, she moved here about 6 months ago with her boyfriend. She works from home, but he's got a job working for like the NSA or something like that. And it's outside of DC, just outside of DC, not like far outside of DC where NSA's headquarters is. But they really wanted to live in DC. And they actually got an apartment, which we didn't know, that is like literally walking distance from our place. Like we could walk there in like 15 minutes. Like it would take us to get to their place. And we didn't know this until like the day before they were moving in. And so it was like, oh, that's cool. They live right down the street. No, so they've come over for parties. We met them up at some of the bars and things like that. What the hell?
Where the fuck did the cat come from?
That's what I just said. What the hell?
Wait, for real? What the fuck?
That's an untamed cat too, isn't it?
Yeah. What?
I'm so confused. Wait, it is untamed, right?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's definitely untamed. Don't they only spawn in the jungle?
That's my understanding, but they also only spawn as ocelots. That's not an ocelot.
What the hell is happening? Do they spawn in villages now?
I have no idea. I've never seen a cat in a village before. Maybe they do. They must, obviously. We have a white cat.
I am so confused at this.
Huh.
Okay.
That tells me that there's still gonna be golems spawning over here, though.
If it's from the village, that is.
It's gotta be. Where? What? What?
Hold on, No, I gotta look this up. Minecraft. Do villages spawn cats? Cats can now naturally spawn in villages instead of only upon world generation.
Interesting.
So, I guess that solves that mystery, but it also does lead us to believe that, yes, they will also spawn.
That's interesting that we're just going to have cats over here now, too.
Yeah, that took me by surprise. So, anyways, long story. They lived here. They only signed, like, if I recall correctly, they only signed like a 6-month lease because they wanted to live in the city for a little bit. But then they were going to go look for a place probably out of the city closer to where he works and things like that. They just wanted to really see city life and see how it was. And for something about they're not married yet. Their wedding was supposed to be planned for like next month, I think it was. But clearly things have, gotten all like delayed and, crazy now because of, the whole COVID situation. And that when I was in Ohio this weekend, the fact of their wedding got caught or like brought up, and nobody knows when it's happening anymore, and where it's going to be, when it's going to be, etc. And I was like, oh yeah, didn't I said do they still live in down the street from us, or did they move? And Julie's like, no, I think they still live there. And I said, yeah, because I remember they were only going to get like a 6-month lease because they only wanted to be in DC for a little bit, and then they were going to move out somewhere else. And her mom goes, well, yeah, but the wedding got delayed, so of course they're not going to move.
Huh.
And I just kind of said, no, you don't understand. Like they only wanted to live in DC for a little bit to experience the city, and then they were talking about moving back out closer to his job. And she's like, well, yeah, the wedding got delayed. And I said, I don't see how the two are necessarily related. I was like, did they say that they didn't move because the wedding got delayed? And she's like, well, no, but the wedding got delayed, so yeah, they're not going to move yet.
I don't understand the correlation.
Like, well, and I kept racking my brain to figure out the correlation. And she goes, well, yeah, they were going to get married and then move in to a house and start a family, but so the wedding got delayed, so they're not going to move into a house at this point. And I said, but they're currently living together.
Yeah.
And she goes, well,
you can't have.
Well, yeah, but they're not. They didn't get married yet. The wedding got pushed back, and I kept like saying, I don't. But they're already living together. Like this isn't a situation where they weren't going to move in together until they got married,
right?
And I kept just racking. Her mom like looked at me like I was like an idiot, and was like, she literally said, I don't understand why you can't see how this is, how these two things are connected. And I was like, I am just going to stop having this conversation right now because I don't know what's happening anymore. And I was trying to rack my brain to figure out what the hell she was talking about. And I was hoping maybe you would have like some insight into it from me telling you.
That just seems like, I don't know. It seems like it's almost like she's lying to herself. Like, oh, they're not living in sin. They're in a temporary sin-free house.
But it's so funny because Julie and I lived in sin for a little. We got married when she was pregnant with Jack.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
I mean, so her parents might not have agreed with it per se, but it's not like it was the first time it's happened in this.
Right, but I mean, I wonder if back then, even like mom was lying to herself about the situation.
I don't know. It was so weird because she was so adamant, and it was almost as if she just wanted me to be wrong.
Yeah. So right.
But I don't know why or what about. Like I wasn't even having a conversation with her. She was just there when I was asking Julia if they still lived by us or not, because I knew that situation was only supposed to be temporary.
Right. Huh. That is very weird, though.
Yeah, it was baffling to me, and I guess.
Did you guys not plan to have a child whenever you did?
We didn't. We weren't. We had discussions that we weren't going to be preventing children.
Oh, okay.
But we weren't necessarily like we must get pregnant. It was we're going to stop using protection, and if it happens that's fine because we are okay with having children
Gotcha.
together.
Right.
Um,
Are y'all
so
preventing
I don't know.
children
I don't
now?
know. I have no idea if her parents knew that. But
Yeah,
we
probably
did
not.
get engaged before she got pregnant. Though.
Oh, okay. Are y'all planning on any more? Or is two the limit?
I'm not.
Are y'all taking contraceptive?
So that is where we were, and that is where it gets interesting because, of course, in the the couple times I've been out to Ohio, there has been a few trysts, and there has not necessarily been contraceptives involved. So I guess we're opening ourselves up to that possibility. There's no question that possibility now exists. So I guess time will tell. I really don't want a third, though.
Yeah, well, especially you'd have to find a new house.
Absolutely. Actually, Julia's now talking about a new house.
Really? What are you going to do with the one you have? Sell it, or are you going to just rent it?
No, if we did get a different house, we definitely keep this one. Her parents, of course, disagree with that as well. Or her mom does disagrees with that. But the DC market is just one of those markets we could rent our house out without any issues for more than our mortgage. So there's no reason to sell a house. Like Julia has a house in Baltimore that we probably should sell. She was actually trying to sell it, and the whole COVID thing happened. It never got on the market. She was just getting it ready to sell. So it's been a little bit delayed. But that house, like, maybe in 20 years is going to be worth some bank if Baltimore turns around in the area that it's in and everything. Because it's close to Johns Hopkins campus. So there's potential for it, but it's like a gamble. Whereas where we live in DC, it's not a gamble. We could rent it right now for far more than our mortgage is.
Right.
So it would be a house that you never sell. You just keep and you rent.
Yeah, that makes sense. How paying what you pay now? When like how long does it take to pay off?
I mean, we have a 30-year mortgage, but we've been paying more on our
when did you start the mortgage?
4 years ago now.
Okay.
So it's so hard to look at the numbers though, because at the beginning, so much is going toward your interest versus your principal.
Right.
And the principals are so high that even though we're putting a lot of extra money in toward the principal, it doesn't look like it's making a dent yet.
Right.
Because that interest keeps racking up. But it
really would now be a good time to refinance. Interest rates got to be super fucking low.
Yeah, we need to really get on the ball of our refinancing. It's just we haven't been in the same house for 2 months at this point,
right?
And it's one of those things that we wanted to do it before, and now we just need to kind of like get the process started. We ran into a problem. Did I tell you about our problem with the DC taxes? Whereas they decided to repeal our. So if you can apply for the DC homestead tax if the house is your primary residence in the district, and they make it so your taxes, you only pay 85%, so 85 cents on the dollar for tax rate.
Okay.
In February, they sent us a letter. I only actually knew because our mortgage company sent us a statement that basically we have to pay all this money on your behalf, so we have to raise your rates for the next 12 months because we have to pay $5,000 to cover these back taxes that you owe. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah.
And I called them up and I was like, look, you guys pay taxes out of our escrow every quarter. What the hell happened? And the guy's looking at it and he's like, yeah, I can see that we're paying the escrow. I don't know. He's like, can't see what it is on my end of the system, but I will, start a case to look at. Oh, there's a Golem.
Yeah, it's the first one that spawns.
You're so heavy. Oh God, I couldn't do it. Well, and so he started the case, and in the interim, I called the DC government, and I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" And I finally get a hold of somebody who tells us that the reason is because DC has declared they have rescinded our homestead tax from 2017 through 2019 in February of this year.
Oh shit! That cat just flew in there. Cat's dead. Sorry.
Is he dead?
I mean, well, he's down there. He lives with that villager now. By the way, the villager grew up and he's still not tall enough to die, so he just lives down there.
Maybe the Golem will push him in. Oh no, because you're right. It's above his head.
Yeah. Oh, that's really fucking bullshit. So money that you previously did not owe, you now owe, and you have to pay interest on it.
Correct. And when I called somebody and finally got a hold of them, what they said was, it says here that they have determined that this is not your primary residence.
Wait, the place you're
And I'm
living?
like, that's the place I'm living. Exactly. The place I'm living is not my primary residence. I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. So I sent in, I got together like the appeal of all appeals. And I, did everything I needed to do to send in the appeal. But, since you can't appeal it in person, you got to email it. And I emailed an initial appeal with just the appeal letter saying I was going to appeal it and I'm going to submit supporting documents. And I get like this notification back immediately that says something like, we'll respond back within 48 hours on this.
Okay.
A week and a half later, without a response, I call back and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And they're like, yeah, I look at your application. I see nothing's been updated in this thing right now. I said, I have a bunch of supporting documents now I want to submit with this stuff. How do I do it and get it to connect to that old case? Because I don't have any other information except an automated response that says you received something. I said, I'll just put it together again and send it to the same email address. It'll get added to the case file. So I send it to the email address. And I don't get an automated response. And I'm like, what the hell? So I start writing all these different people, and I find all these different people in the DC government, and I'm writing personal emails to them, like, what the hell's going on? So 2 weeks go by. And finally I get a response from somebody, like very apologetic that, things had gotten like delayed and all. But then he updates it with, actually, why we rescinded it was because a house that Julia owned still in Pittsburgh, apparently she still had the homestead deduction on it. And if you have a homestead deduction in any other state, they automatically apparently just like cancel it, which is weird for a couple reasons. So she shouldn't have had a homestead deduction on that, but it turns out that she actually did, which is,
I'm sure her deduction in DC is way more important than the one there.
Her homestead deduction in Pennsylvania gained her $69 a year.
What's the DC ones?
It's like $3,500 a year
plus 3 years of interest.
But the thing is, Julia hasn't lived in that house in Pittsburgh. It's in like over 10 years. So DC, you have to renew it every single year. It doesn't just keep going. In Pittsburgh, I guess you don't. And Julia, like, something happened and she like forgot about it and it was going. So legitimately, there was a problem. There was a homestead deduction being claimed by a different state. But the funny thing is, DC is rescinding it, saying it's not our primary residence because we're claiming this homestead deduction, which is a statement that you live there. That's your primary residence.
Right.
Yet both of our driver's licenses are this house here in DC. Our taxes are filed under this house in DC. So DC apparently just takes the opportunity to be like, boom, you claim like Pittsburgh homestead deduction, even though that's the one that's in there. Fuck you.
Right.
Money in the bank. Type of deal. When really it was Pittsburgh that should have been the one that was canceled.
Yeah.
And we owe the back taxes on that. So luckily now we finally gotten a hold of the right people, and actually the head of that department, Julia, talked to them finally, and apparently he's a really nice guy and everything. It was like, no. Look, this is why we do this, is because like we have a bigger stake because it's so much more money than other states. So what you can do is you can go to Pennsylvania, tell them the problem, have them bill you for the previous time and whatever interest and stuff that they want to say, and then mail that paperwork to us, and we will reinstate the homestead tax for that time frame, which is really good that they can do that.
Yeah.
But really, it shouldn't have been rescinded from DC's perspective. It should have been rescinded from like Pennsylvania's perspective.
It almost feels like they should have just sent you a fucking letter in the mail.
Yeah, one would think. They did send us a letter. It was the letter that said,
right.
Like, not we're doing an investigation and this is what we found. What is wrong here?
Just pay us, please. It's kind of like we were talking the other day about just sending people invoices. They just sent you an invoice.
Well, they actually sent it to our mortgage company, who paid it immediately, because when you have a tax lien against your property, they can seize your property. So the mortgage company paid it immediately because they didn't want their property, because it's their property technically, to be in jeopardy. Luckily, there's no one. I talked to them and got all things straightened out with them. And once we get this all fixed, like they can go basically revert everything to our old monthly payments and all. But
I don't want to interrupt your story, but I want you to see that the Iron Golem is spawning in there with the villagers.
That's probably what that carpet was for. So we need carpet.
Or just beds on every surface. You can't have a big...
Well, there's also a space in front of all the beds.
Yeah, but I think he's too wide for that.
That might be true, actually. Yeah, we need more beds. But yeah, that is a good point. Something I had not previously anticipated.
But continue. Talking about
I don't remember where I was at.
See, that's why I didn't want to say anything. I knew you were gonna forget.
But well, long story short, like they paid it on our behalf because of the fact that they have an interest in the property as well because they're the mortgage holder.
Right.
So theoretically, if DC could come and claim the property because of back taxes, they don't want to lose that. But we talked to the people there. We're gonna get that all taken care of when we get this all taken care of in the end. But now it's just like such a big fucking mess. Like so hard. Like yeah, it could have been easily solved with a hey, this is the problem that we found.
Right.
You have 30 days to get it corrected, or something of that sort. Not just oh, by the way, for the last 2 years, here's your bill.
Yeah.
COVID starting, give us $7,000 because that makes sense right now.
Yeah, that's pretty wild to me. I got a letter in the mail from the IRS, or not the IRS, the North Carolina Department of Revenue, claiming that my corporation for my web hosting company that's been out of business since 2010, that I owe taxes for the last 10 years. They're like, pay us. They're like,
taxes for what though? For nothing, no income?
Right, that's the thing. Like, I haven't filed any income taxes on that company because there's been no income, and like we dissolved the corporation. As far as I'm aware, I haven't actually like dealt with this yet to know for sure. Because like right after I got this letter is when the Corona stuff started, and just like this has not been my primary concern, I guess. But yeah, they were like, based on what you paid all the other years when you did file tax, we've estimated what you owe now. So send us like $25,000. I think is what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a hard thing. Is there's no one-stop shop to go understand everything that you do or don't own. Yet somehow these governments have a way to do it. But you, as the person who supposedly owns this business,
right,
can't like easily go see like, did my dissolving of the corporation actually go through appropriately? Can I go look?
Like when I look at the Secretary of State website, because you can see like all that type of stuff, like whether or not your corporation still exists on the Secretary of State website, and it says it's not in business. So like I'm confused. But yeah, we haven't been in business for 10 years, so I'm definitely not paying them taxes for 10 years.
Well, I do wonder now if we do get this tax thing taken care of. And before I was going to argue it more because I thought they wrongfully just decided we didn't live at our house. Now that there actually is a seemingly legitimate reason that they could do this, even though the way they did it is really fucked up. I was going to go after them for the interests in the time that we've lost that money.
Right.
But I don't think I really have a leg to stand on anymore with that, since it does turn out to be our fault.
Right. Yeah.
But I am wondering if they are going to give us back the interest. One would think they'd have to, right?
You would think, because they're not due. There's no. How do you charge interest on money that's not due? Yeah.
So God, I hope so. I hope they give us back everything in the interest. I'm just not going to have my fun and charge them interest as well.
Yeah.
Maybe I just send them an
invoice. Yeah. The rules.
Send it over to them. Be like, hey, here you go. Wonder who you'd send the invoice to.
Yeah, who knows?
Like I just email like the government head website and just invoice stamped in there. Invoice.
Right. Yeah.
So please route to accounts payable or accounts receivable or whatever it is.
I wonder if you should fill in this one block where the bell used to be now too.
You think Iron Golem's spawn up there?
No.
We might put a torch up there though to light it up.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if like zombies or something would spawn up there.
No, I've got. Is it nighttime? Oh, go to sleep, buddy. Oh. I think somebody took this guy's bed and he is pissed.
Wow, it's like Goldilocks all over again.
Look at him. He's just like.
Yeah, I see him jumping around.
Y'all.
Stepping on everybody's face while they try to sleep.
He woke one of them up.
Sure did.
Oh no! Then what?
Oh, that must have been his bed.
Wow, that's
interesting. Well, we probably should wrap this episode up here. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
All right, folks. See ya.